Good morning, Zio here. And today we go back to Sony, Naughty Dog, and The Last of Us, because there seems to be something strange afoot. On one hand, it seems like there might be some review manipulation going on, and on the other hand, there really isn't. So it's kind of a, I don't know, I guess a nuanced thing. Either way, it's a thing we should talk about because there's more to it than just that. So let's get into it, shall we? Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should go ahead and do so now. Why? Because I'm building an army for world domination, and I need you in that army. So hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it out among the interwebs so we can get more recruits to this army. Because I can't dominate the world on my own. So, with all that, let's see. We've got The Last of Us Part 2. We're talking about review manipulation, yet also kind of not at the same time, because if you go and look at these things on the PlayStation Store, which I did on the PlayStation itself first, because I was curious if there's a way for me to actually go and look at these ratings, right? Because I want to see what the 5-star ratings actually say, if they say anything at all. I couldn't see them. I couldn't find them anywhere. I went straight onto my PlayStation, got onto the review, got onto this to try and look at the reviews to see if I can bring them up, but I can't. And I can't do it here either. They're just solid 5 stars with 766 ratings for a game that isn't out yet. So, when you first look at this, you think definitely review manipulation, right? Definitely got to be Sony or somebody pumping up those numbers to give it a excellent rating. So when it does come out, and other people can finally start reviewing the thing, it doesn't tank too bad, It looks good up front. People are going to see that. They're going to see all those ratings, whether it's out or not. They may pre-order it. They may buy it day one, something like that, 5 stars. And it's honestly a bit manipulative. However, it's not exactly Sony's doing. But at the same time, it's also Sony's fault. So this happens with more than just Sony too. This also happens over on the Xbox and anything else that apparently you're allowed to rate before it comes out. And of course, there's not this many review copies out there that we know of. As far as we know, as of last week, it just started going to print essentially. And these reviews have been up for some time now. So there's no way that it was getting, played by review copies, and these are like 766 reviewers. Now, I think that number may have changed a little bit. I don't know. But this is the Digital Deluxe Edition with 887 ratings of a 5-star. Straight up 5 stars. And this is the problem right here. The game is not out. There are no review copies in circulation at this moment that we know of, and it's already got a perfect 5-star rating. And this is a broken system that both Sony and Microsoft both suffer from, of course. And I meant to bring up Steam to see if they had something similar going on, but I forgot to. But any platform that has the ability for you to rate something before the particular property is officially out, that needs to be fixed. Anyway, so essentially what is happening, right, is you got people who have pre-ordered the game, correct? And now they've got it pre-ordered digitally. They're able to leave a rating immediately, even though the game isn't out. There's nothing to actually judge the game on. They're allowed to go ahead and leave a review. That's why I say it's technically not Sony doing the manipulation. It's people who, are going to buy this game regardless, and, they've already pre-ordered it. Chances are most of them don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. They're not even paying attention to the fact that, there's been those DMCAs and copyright claims or anything else like that. And they're just know that they love the first one. they've pre-ordered the second one, so they're obviously going to love the second one, which of course is to be determined. They may not. Some of these people may come back and change that review if it's possible. Others may just completely forget about it and go, not the best thing, and other people may absolutely love the game. You're going to have diehard fans who are going to love it regardless. It happens. I know I'm been one of those fans in the past with other properties where I will make every excuse under the sun for why it's really not that bad. But when you take a moment to step back from it and actually look at it objectively, you think, maybe it's not as good as I like it to be, But yeah, it's not just a problem with The Last of Us 2 either, because you can come over to Cyberpunk 2077, which of course still isn't out either. According to this, the full game will be available in 128 days. The 9/17/2020 is when Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out. It's already got 1,094 ratings, full 5 stars. Now, is Cyberpunk 2077 a 5-star rated game? Will it be? I have no idea. Does it look like something I really want to pick up? Kind of. I actually do want to pick up Cyberpunk 2077. When I'm going to get around to it, that's another thing altogether, because, I'm poor. So I can't pick up brand new games as soon as they come out. I generally have to wait anyway. And for a lot of games, I do like to wait anyway, just due to the fact the way some companies have treated their properties, like a month or so later, or when they launch it and it being a broken, buggy mess that has day one issues. Now, this of course is something that we really should talk about and needs to be fixed. If the game is not out, you should not be able to have a rating for it like this, right? Also, on top of that, don't use ratings like this to, quite frankly, buy anything. I've been gypped in the past with a really bad game that had excellent ratings for some odd reason. Of course, this was back in the day when the internet was not what it was now, of course. But yeah, I got burned on a game that I paid quite a bit for, got it home, started playing. It was like, this is nothing like what I read about. This is not, is this the same game? And had to actually go look and find out. And so, that's the same game. This is not what I was expecting. This is not what the reviews were talking about, and this is not what the box, of course, was also saying, because it was boasting that it had gotten awards or whatever and had gotten these ratings and stuff on the back of the box. And it's like, no, I don't know what the heck happened, but no. So I've been burned in the past by that sort of thing. So, I typically don't look at that and go, okay, that's a definite buy. I like to go seek out other people, whether they be streamers or YouTubers or somebody else who is showing me definitely gameplay, for one, because that's another thing that gets me burnt, when I think it's going to be one way and then it turns out it's a completely different thing. But yeah, I want to see some gameplay on the screen real quick, not in-game rendered footage or in-engine renders or anything like that. And I really want to actually see it. However, this is a problem. And of course, one could say that this could be straight up cooked. I'm sure there are some cooks going into these things from people, even though that's not exactly what I would call an ethical decision or anything like that. But in the past, Sony has been burnt by fake reviews and fake movie critics and things like that. But this was, I think, back in August 2000. August 3rd, 2005, according to the top of this, was when this was published, and was last updated January 13th, 2015. But Sony did settle a class action lawsuit for $1.5 million. Let me read this thing. Okay, to pay $1.5 million to settle a class action lawsuit accusing the studio of citing a fake movie critic in ads for several films, an attorney said Tuesday. Anyway, moviegoers who saw the films Vertical Limit, A Knight's Tale, The Animal, Hollow Man, and The Patriot search during the original theater runs must file a claim to be eligible for a $5 per ticket reimbursement. Who said lawyer so-and-so who represented a group of film goers who sued Sony Pictures. This is also another thing to say. Screw the class actions. I'm sorry. When it comes to a class action, you usually don't get much out of it. For one, lawyers make bank. But if you really, really want to go after a company, and there's a lot of people having the exact same issue, like, I don't know, spurious DMCA claims, make individual suits. It's going to cost the company way more than the $1.5 million to settle this class action lawsuit, and then everybody gets like $5 or something, right? Or a ticket or something. If you're going to go and sue a company like Sony for something, everybody should file their own separate lawsuits, just due to the fact that if you really want to hit them in the purse, that's how you're going to do it. If you do a class action and, like, 100 people sue for whatever, and then they settle for 1.5 million, that's one thing. But if all 35 people sued separately, they're having to pay for multiple cases at once, going through and responding to this, that, and the other, and having to fight the same fight 35 separate times. And that's probably going to cost them a lot more than it would be to just settle out of a class action, but that's just my thoughts on it. So Sony doing that sort of thing is not outside the realm of possibility, is what I'm getting at, right? Them cooking the numbers, that's a possible thing. They've done it in the past. They've done it a few times, I think. Or maybe it was just the one. That just happened to be the first one I popped up to, because I could barely remember it, but knew it had happened. But yeah, Sony has cooked numbers in the past. They've cited, fake movie critics and other things and stuff, and they've gotten into trouble for it. So, for them to do that with The Last of Us Part 2, it's plausible. However, chances are they are probably a bunch of people who just pre-ordered it and gave it automatic 5 stars, which is a shame, because that shouldn't be something that you can do. It's one thing when, like, I understand the review bombing issue, because I'm sure that's an argument somebody's going to make too, right? It's like, well, all these people are going to review bomb. That's true, because sometimes it gets review bombed negatively. At the same time, there's usually positive review bombs that go to counteract the negative. We've seen it happen several times in recent memory with several games. But that's another thing for another time. But reviewing before the product is actually out and you don't have a review copy, that should not be a thing that we should allow to be happening. And this does happen across the different platforms, and it's not just a Sony issue, of course. So that is something that I feel that needs to really change in the industry a bit. Is, if the game isn't out, there should not be a review score for it. There should not be a 5-star for Cyberpunk 2077, let alone The Last of Us Part 2. It's not out yet. It can't have that 5-star, and because it has that 5-star, it can trick people into thinking that this game is definitely a 5-star game, when in reality it may not be, just because it's not out yet and they don't really know it. So, I guess that's where I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll talk to you later. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And, of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.